Sadly, you guys don't get to do the full experience that they did because it took us 3 weeks. And we're not going to do 3 weeks of lesson tonight. But I'm going to describe what we did and illustrate what we did and show you the results. So what we did was, I was captivated by this verse in Proverbs. Proverbs 11:22 says this. It says, like a gold ring and a pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. Like a gold ring and a pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. You get the contrast, right? Pigs, they're smelly, they're noisy, they're dirty. You put a gold ring in their nose, you're not really noticing how beautiful the gold ring is. You're just noticing how ugly the pig is, right? So no matter how dressed up and attractive we can be, if we're behaving without discretion, it's kind of scary. So what we did on the first night, without much discussion of scripture, is we started building a paper mache pig. Have you ever done paper mache? There's a number of recipes for how to do paper mache on the internet, but most of them involve some sort of flour or glue and water. You mix up and it becomes a paste, and then you chop up a bunch of strips of newspaper, and then you soak the newspaper strips in the pasty stuff, and then you wrap those pieces around something to create a picture. So we start with the classic balloon. Blow up the balloon, and then I had 5 of these. These are toilet paper tubes. So 4 legs and a snout. You can get something bigger for the snout. You can get a coffee can for the snout, whatever you want to do. So we blew this up. I taped it, the 4 legs on it, and I taped the snout on it, and then we started paper macheing it. And while we were paper macheing, I asked my kids what they thought of the word discretion. They were old enough to kind of understand that word. This is kind of a middle school to high school kind of level of discussion. So we talked about the word discretion, what it looks like, what the opposite of discretion might be, and just sort of had that conversation. And they were used to family night, the rhythm of family night. So they're wondering, why isn't this a Bible lesson? What's Dad going to spring on us? And all we did was we just paper mache'd the first layer of the pig, and we said, all right, that's it for tonight. And we moved into our family night game, and they were left wondering what's going to happen to this pig. And I said, we're going to come back to the pig next week. And so we let the pig dry in the garage, and then next week I brought the pig in because 1 layer of paper mache is never enough. So we did another layer of paper mache on the pig. We put a little squirted tail on the end of it, and paper mache'd them up, talked a little bit more about discretion and people that we had seen that exercised discretion in circumstances, and people that we'd seen that acted without discretion, just kind of bring that back in mind. Put the second layer on the pig, done with family night, played a family game, put the pig out in the garage, let it dry, and then I painted the pig after he dried, and then I rubbed mud on the pig, because pigs are generally covered in mud. Rubbed mud all over the pig, and then I bought some fart spray, because pigs smell bad. Actually, when I did this the first time, I didn't get fart spray. There was this thing on the internet called Stink Bomb. And there were these little glass ampules of really nasty smelling stuff. And you were supposed to break them, and then it's this cloud of stink would fill. So I recommend if you're going to go all the way and get the smell in, which I do recommend, you do this part outside. So I got the glass ampule, and I stuck it inside. I stuck the pig inside my trash bag, and I stuck the glass ampule wrapped in a paper towel inside there. And my thinking was, we're going to go outside. I'm going to set this down on the ground. I'm going to step on the ampule and fill the bag with stink. And then we're all going to walk outside. So you can do this with fart spray too. You can spray the whole bag. I didn't do it because I didn't want the room to become stinky. So then, you have the pig, you come outside. This is actual Stinky the Pig right here. And then I read the verse. I say, we've been talking about discretion all this time. We've been building this pig. Here's the connection read the verse, like a gold ring in the pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. I said, what do we know about pigs? And we talked about how nasty they are, and sloppy they are, and stinky they are. And we talked about what that verse might mean then, the contrast. And then, oh, I forgot to tell you, in the pig's snout, I bought a little cheap ring that was about the right size for my daughter. And so it's not an actual gold ring, but it's a gold ring. And I cut a little hole in his snout and I stuck the ring in his snout so it would be there. So for the unveiling, there was the ring in the snout. And then I opened it up, and immediately when I opened it up, it was like, whoosh, this stink, and I was, whoa. And then we looked at Stinky the Pig, who I have to say is a pretty darn good pig. So actually, I guess we used 2 balloons, and then a snout, and the rest, a little curly tail. And Stinky the Pig had a little gold ring sticking in his snout. And it just created the visual and, what do you call it when you smell things? It's not auditory, but it's, anyway. Olfactory effect. It engaged multiple senses to have, he still stinks a little bit after all these years. He's been in my attic for forever. Anyway, Stinky the Pig, Proverbs 11:22, and I pulled the ring out of the pig's nose, and I gave it to Rachel, and I said, keep this, and remember how important it is to behave with discretion. And she did. She kept it, because when I decided to do this lesson tonight, 10, 15 years after we did it, I said, Rachel, do you still have a ring? She goes, of course I still have a ring. She brought it over, so I will give it back to her when we're done with this lesson. But this is Rachel's ring. And we also talked about the fact that even though the scripture passage is directed at women, that behaving with discretion is something that men need to do as well. And so Josh he didn't get a ring out of it, but he got the full lesson and experience out of it. So that's probably why they remember this one, is because that smell was powerful. Stinky. That's what lack of discretion smells like. So that was it. So if anybody wants to smell the fart spray, they can take it outside, but I'm not going to spray it in here.